All right. How are you, Mr. Rob? Good. Anybody got a transactional question that they're in the midst of? Haven't reached out yet? Seeing none, we'll carry on. I haven't got a whole lot, even though it's been a couple of weeks since we met. There was a question about some of the forms that we use internally that aren't CAR forms, and our TCs are on top of those forms and know what we need. If they're sending a form to a seller or providing you with a form for a buyer, that's quite natural, because we need, I don't know, we have 3 or 4, I think, Better Homes and Gardens forms that we use in addition to the standard CAR forms. And if any of you ever want to know, have a list of what we require in the broker file, just ask your TC to send you a copy, because they all have a checklist that it would be good if you reviewed in advance and know what they're going to be looking for. So that's what I suggest you do is, if you don't have that form, reach out to your TC and ask for that entire list, and then you can check it off as you send it to them. That's always a good practice. Yeah, back when we kept hard paper forms, and kept them ourselves before GCs. Some of you don't know that world, but I know Eric does. Eric and I do. Yeah, well, we had a document that the broker provided us with, and we stapled it inside the front cover of our folder, and we checked off all the documents as we went along. And we usually kept two files, one that we kept and one that the broker kept. Of course, we've been advised in the more recent years that we don't keep our agent file for any length of time, and that we supply the broker with everything, so the broker has it. And if it's needed for your reference, you can ask us for it. If it's needed for legal reference, we have control of that. We don't have to provide 2 files. We have 1 complete broker file with the stuff that's required. So that's how that goes. Cheryl, you want to add anything more to your chat? This is very timely. I have a listing in Lakeport with the same situation.
Yes. I listed a property over on Rocky Point on the lake, and first thing when my sign went out there, I had to come back the next day because the lockbox wasn't working right, blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, a guy drove up, looked at the sign, the neighbors came out, talked to him, made him sit there for an hour and a half, gave him the whole story about the whole house and the whole neighborhood. And oh, there used to be a meth lab in the garage. It's not there anymore. And it was a grow house in the house, and blah, blah. He just went on. And he calls and tells him, he goes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news and tell you this. He goes, but I'm a lawyer and I don't know how this goes as far as now you having to disclose this.
Yeah.
And he had an interest in the property. So since that time, I think everybody that's gone there almost and looked at it, the neighbors have come out and told them these very same things. So this is real timely that this has come out this way.
Yeah. Bill Jansen, our risk management attorney, has a favorite phrase. First of all, he has several favorite phrases, and one is, if you've got it, you give it. So if we have information, even if we don't know it's true, we give that information. Now, in giving the information, his second phrase is disclose, attribute, and a disclaim. So disclose, attribute and disclaim. So we disclose the information, we attribute it to the source where it came from. In this case, we were told by via a phone call from a lawyer, or we were told by via a phone call from the neighbor, or reported. It's been reported to us by numerous individuals that this happened. You know, we have, and then you disclaim. You know, and it's the same disclaimer we put on the bottom of our emails, and I hope you all have that on the bottom of your emails. And it says, I have not verified any information supplied by third parties.
Okay.
So if you look at the emails from me, you'll find that little phrase at the bottom. If you don't have it on your present emails, please add it, just copy it from my email and put it on your email. And that's our disclaimer around these things. So when you do your AVID would be a good place to have that, Cheryl, and then attribute it and disclaim it all within your comments on your AVID. That would be good. Any questions on that? Okay. So this came in this morning, actually, and may apply to one of you on the call, not picking on you. We have a listing with a vacant lot sold along with a lot that has a structure, and the seller's asking if the SPQ can suffice, or do we need a SPQ, seller property questionnaire, can suffice, or do we need to have a VLQ, the vacant land questionnaire, on hand as well? And the answer was, if it's a separate legal lot that could be separated and sold separately, then it basically, it can be included in the same contract or the same listing and sold together. But we are going to need both the VLQ and the SPQ. The SPQ for the property with the house on it, the VLQ for the vacant parcel that's separate. So that was the answer to that. This came up around a vacant land parcel also, where the seller's exempt, you know, they're a trust or trustee or something like that, and they have exempt. And you know, this exemption really only applies to the statutory forms. An exempt party would be exempt from filling out the statutory forms, the TDS, the natural hazards, things like that. But the rest of the forms, whether they are trust or whatever, like in this case, the VLQ, we're going to want them to fill that out to the best of their ability. They can say, I don't know on all the answers, but that's not a statutory form, and they need to disclose on the VLQ or the SPQ what they know and to the extent they know it. So yeah, we do need the VLQ in that case. Any questions on that? Okay, and then lastly, this isn't a contract question, really. It was a question from one of our agents about how I reference things in my blog. And because he was going to use a section of the blog dealing with the area where he is to send to a client, you know, just to kind of give an update on the market. So in this case, I used this language. There were no luxury home closings in the area last month, and there were no new luxury home sales. And he was asking, what's the difference between closing and sale? In my parlance, in the blog, I refer to a closing as a close of escrow. So the escrow closed and it shows up in the MLS as a closed sale. And I use the word sale in terms of new sale, something that shows up in the MLS as a new sale for the period that we're referencing. So that's the difference in those two things. And it's understandably, I try to use, and I kind of insert the word new sales in there, closings and new sales. That would probably be helpful. We all kind of use real estate speak sometimes when the general public maybe doesn't understand the real estate speak. So we have to be a little careful about that and simplify our language sometimes. And in this case, I even confused, an experienced agent who's been licensed and working for us for 7 or 8 years. So in the future, I will amend that and say new sales. Okay, that's all I have on my plate, Heather. You have some topics to cover on the text?
I do. And I actually, while you were talking, I thought of a question that I had for you.
Okay.
Recently in a transaction, I had the other side send over the DEDA, I think it's called. It's the electronic delivery addendum, which I'd never seen before. And they had filled it all out and wanted us to sign it, that it was, that basically we were accepting the electronic delivery. Which I hadn't originally put in the offer because that's not what I wanted to do. So what's your feeling on that? Is, should we be doing that electronic delivery, or I just said it's not required and we didn't do it, but I was just kind of curious because I've never had anyone ask for it like that before.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not a required form. It's a convenience form. It's like when you used to fill out that summary of transaction, which is now incorporated into the RPA as the grid, basically. That was an optional thing to do or share with the other party. It's informational, but it's not a required legal, contract document. So I haven't heard from Bill. It'd be a good question for him in our next legal update. Which, by the way, we should get on the calendar, but it usually happens in November or something. I'll reach out. But yeah, I haven't heard that should be a required form that we use. So and in terms of other brokerages submitting forms for our clients or for us to sign, unless they're required by the contract, they're required in the contract or by statute, we have really no obligation to sign other companies' forms, as they don't have an obligation to sign our forms if we have a form that we ask them to sign. So sometimes we just not agree that we don't like that form, we aren't going to use it, and that's okay. That's okay. If it comes down to, the agent being real obstinate and insisting on this, or and say, okay, well, have your broker call my broker and they can deal with it, work it out. So once in a while that happens.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks. I just hadn't seen it. At first, I liked the idea of that electronic delivery, but then I'm worried that someone will send me something and it'll go to spam. I won't see it.
Yeah.
And it will be considered delivered. So I stopped doing it. So I was curious. Okay. Cool. So today I was going to dive a little bit into some operations in the MLS. Of course, I have access to Verus. I know some of these things are similar and some are different in the way that the CRMLS works. But hopefully that it will be useful for everyone. I'm realizing, I should probably get access to CRMLS so that I can show the same thing on both for everyone, so that everyone's, able to see the different tricks that or things that I'm sharing. So today I was just gonna go over, I've had quite a few people asking about.
Hey,
um,
Heather,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Your voice is a little echoey and a little difficult to understand. I don't know where your speaker is.
oh, maybe it's the camera. Let's see. Yeah, I'm in the conference room.
That's better. That's
Is that
better.
better? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then you're staring straight at me. Okay.
Okay, that's
Okay,
better.
great. Thanks for
Thanks.
letting me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great conference room, but it is a little echoey on its own, so.
Okay.
Okay, so, Barris changed back in May, their MLS access for us to Barris Plus, and I've had quite a few questions on the changes with uploading photos to a listing and a couple of things on the searches. So I thought I would just go over those today, so that you know kind of what's available out there. So here I am in an old listing of mine. And if you go into the upload and manage pictures section, it does look differently than it did back in, January. So there is a few things that are good to know. Let me get this out of the way so that I can see what I'm doing. It actually gives you a fair amount more options of how to handle your photos in there. Remember that when you go to add pictures, if you add several pictures at once, they will be in the order that you add them. It's fine to add them in not the order you want, because you can easily go in and change the order. You can either change the order individually, so you can just grab onto this little, it's not letting me do it, of course. Why isn't it letting me do it? Let me.
Heather, it may be because it's a closed escrow. It says something at the top about because of its current status.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Anne. You're probably right, because it won't let me add pictures either. So that, I bet you're right. So just so you know, these little 4 dots or 6 dots there in the corner, you can just grab onto that and you can move your photos into any order that you want. Remember, when you're arranging your photos, this one under number 1 is the primary photo. So if just one photo shows up, for instance, when someone prints out a listing, if there's just one photo on it, this will be the photo that shows up. And then on places like, Zillow and other automated marketing, many other places will automatically choose the first 3 or 4 photos to go onto whatever that site is. And so just think about that when you're arranging your photos. I see a lot of people have front of house, front of house, front of house, front of house, and they're not taking advantage of, showing the interior, so maybe a front of house, a kitchen, a living room, and a backyard, right? Highlighting in the first 4 photos, really try to highlight your best aspects of the house. I have been told by several different SEO specialists that if you have a listing that's sitting on the market for a while, if you go in and rearrange the order of your photos, that your listing will then pop up higher on searches. So that's a little thing I try to do every week or 2 weeks. Just go in and, I might leave the first 2 the same. I might switch out the front, but I do try to rearrange the order a little bit so that it pops up higher on searches, because that's what we want, right? We want people to find your listing when they search online. And so, what can you do to make it so that people are seeing it? So like I see mine here, number 4, that was not my original number 4. I obviously had gone in and rearranged things as I went. A few things you can also do right from here is if the photo comes up and it's turned, it's rotated the wrong way, this button here with the little arrow rotates it for you, and it's not letting me do any of this, but you can, the edit button here, you can click on that, and then you can add descriptions to each of the photos. Now, I've been told by some SEO that that does help them pop up higher on the search, and I've been told others they don't think that would matter. To me, if you're adding some keywords, right, like you know, home related words, then it should help, you know, the little bots in the computers find your listing more easily and show up better on search engines. But I've gotten mixed reviews on whether or not that's accurate. You can, over here on the right, you can select all of them. So if they all come in shifted the wrong way, you can rotate them all at once. You can move multiples also. So if you are like, I want these last 4 photos to be my first 4, then you can just click on multiple of them. Just click in the little box, and then when you move them, they all move together. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, you can also in here in this edit where the little pencil is, you can crop photos right here in the MLS. So let me see if it will let me. No, see, I can't click on that. So if you have a photo and you're like, oh gosh, there's a weird something sticking out, you can write it here in the MLS, you can crop out, you can make, you know, you can zoom in on the whole thing, or you can just crop a side or what have you. So that's pretty handy. Let's see. Those are all the actions. Make sure anything you do in here. So like if I was to hit delete on this, it's not letting me do it now, but if you are going to delete a couple things, it doesn't actually happen until you click on, save it. So up on the top, you make sure that you save and exit, so that whatever actions you actually, that you performed actually will show up on the MLS. I think that's everything. Is there anything on CRMLS that you guys have that's a little different than that would be good to know, to share with everybody?
There's a couple questions on the photos here.
What is it?
One is, can we change the pictures that show up on Zillow after we put it in the MLS, like take the pictures out so they don't show up in Zillow?
Oh, that's a great question. And I know Barris is working on, and Gary, maybe you know the answer to that. They are working on a way that, last I heard, so that if a buyer doesn't want all those photos to be out there,
Yeah.
that you can have them removed from, tell me if I'm right, Gary. You go in after and unclick the, what's it called? Publish to multiple sites, or there's a term for that. Is that how it's handled, Gary?
Well, I think even on your screen there, you see that on the right side says private photo options. I think you can just hit, check the boxes, and then you hit make private, and then they will show up to members. They will stay in the MLS system, but they won't be distributed to the public.
Perfect. Yeah. So they're still there so that all of us realtors can see it,
Yes.
to use for comps,
Right.
but they're not out on Zillow anymore, what have you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of buyers really like that option. They prefer not to have photos of their home after they buy it, but.
Right. Right.
Okay, great. Thank you. Was there other, let's see in the chat, let me pull that out. Verbal. Also, if you want to change the pictures on Zillow or any of the other sites, you just rearrange the order in the MLS, and eventually they show up on Zillow that way, but sometimes it takes quite a while. But that's my understanding. There's a picture of animals on the wall that I want to take out. Have you tried taking it out of the MLS? Kendra? My mouse isn't working. Oh, interesting. So it used to be, and it may be still, I thought that when you made changes in the MLS, those.
Yeah,
showed up
no, they have more, they have like our, every 20-minute feeds to these sites at this point. Yeah, they aren't once a day kind of things. So, and they will, if you edit out a picture, make it private after you've uploaded it first. It may take a while to show up in Zillow, but it will show up.
Yeah.
Kendra, your question was this picture of animals on the wall that you want to take out. I don't know if you can edit out.
Gary,
this.
there's, he's got a couple heads on the wall, zebra heads and stuff like that. And
Oh,
that is not appealing to some people. So
right.
I wanted to like get that off the listing. So I did delete it from the MLS, but does it still show up since it's been published? It's going to be out there, right? There's no way of.
No, I think if you deleted it, I'm pretty sure that public sites update through the MLS on a regular basis. So if the photo is not there anymore, it won't show up on the photo.
Okay.
You check that and let me know though, okay?
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thanks. Okay, a couple of things that have changed on the search. I think the biggest one that people aren't noticing is or have questions about is you can search if you have a client that is looking for a property with 2 living spaces. There's 2 different ways to search for it now. If you go here, can you guys see the search page right now? I never know if it keeps up with me. I'm on the standard search page. Can you guys see that? Oh, you're not signing.
Yeah, we see.
Okay, great. So you can see here under property types, there's residential and then property subtype. There is here 2 houses on lot. So you can search that way and it will bring up quite a few of the homes that have 2 houses on lot. Another thing you can do is you can leave that blank and then go here into the additional criteria. So you actually want to do these as 2 separate searches, because if you put 2 houses on lot and the ADU, it gets confused because it's looking for a property with both. So I suggest looking for a property with 2 houses and then separately this one here in additional criteria. You just click on that. They now have this ADU/second unit. You can click on yes, and then you can say include anything that has an ADU or second unit on it. And so I think what's a lot of people are having, they're not realizing that if they click both of those, you actually get less results. So search with the 2 houses and then take that off and search with the second unit, and you'll find more properties. It all depends on how the agent has submitted it into the MLS. You also can, in that additional criteria, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to take that off. There is now a property condition field. And I'm looking for it here. It's not alphabetical. What isn't it called? Property condition. There is one of these blue ones. So it's not unfortunately, it's not a required field yet. So not everyone is, not all the agents are clicking it or are adding it to their listings. Why can't I find it right now? But that is, if you have someone who really is looking for a fixer or is like, absolutely, I won't buy a fixer, you can use that field to search and help you sort through what's out there. Again, it's only as good as what agents are submitting on their listing. I suggest on your listings, putting in that condition because it'll help people. It makes it easier for a buyer, right? To find what they're looking for. I don't know why I don't see it here. I saw it earlier today. Oh, maybe it's under, just under condition. I'm not seeing it. I'm pretty sure it was called property condition, but I don't see it right now. Anyways, I will look at it. If it's not, I'll let you guys know what it's called, but it's definitely something like that. Let's see. Any questions? And then I'll go to the next little bit I was going. What is a halfplex? That's a great question, Eric. I have no idea.
What is the question?
Eric asked, what is a halfplex? Right
A
here is a
halfplex.
halfplex.
Well, you got a duplex, you got a fourplex, a halfplex. Is there a halfplex there?
There is. A halfplex is half a duplex, which is,
You
One
found
half-
97 of them.
oh, yeah. You know what I bet it is? I bet it's a duplex, but where they're selling, where you can just sell the two sides separately. Right?
It,
They're attached.
it is, it's half of a duplex.
All right.
I'm like, that's just a house. Okay, that makes more sense.
They're selling the garage.
Yeah, right. Okay, a few things have also changed, let's just make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, yeah, definitely half confused. A few things have changed on the way things show up when you are setting up an automatic alerts for your buyers on the prospecting. So let me just pull that up. If I think it's great because it looks so much better for a client when they go into their search portal now. It's just a much more updated look. I'm just gonna pull up some random client I have here. When you are setting up your prospecting, you obviously have to have an email in there, and it's great to make some notes about who they are and what they're looking for. But here in auto prospecting, so this person's an old, I've actually shut off their auto prospecting, so I'm not going to save this, but I'll go ahead and walk through it to set it up. So you just put them on auto prospecting. You've got to choose how often. I mean, you guys have all done this a million times, but I'm just going to go through it so you can see any changes. They have changed the name of this. It used to be, I think it used to say immediately, and now it says ASAP, so as soon as possible, however you'd like that to show up. Whether or not you want to have it sent to us, a CC, obviously you need to have an email. If you want it sent directly to them, you need to do yes, newly matched here. You can choose what format you want it to come in, and then whether or not you want them to give them a search portal. I love the search portal. I think it looks really nice. They can make comments, they can make their own searches. I find a lot of clients don't use it, but the few that do really like it. They use it a lot. So I always give them that option, but it's absolutely up to you. This is something, I don't know if it's different, but I didn't know this, where you get alerts whenever someone goes into their client portal. You can have it be hourly, or you can have it be once a day. If it's once a day, you'll receive a summary of all of your clients. So if anyone has gone in, the once a day will give you that summary. Also up here on send auto prospecting email to you, that's the same here. The daily summary will send you a nice summary of all the houses that came out that fit all your clients. So instead of getting, an email every single time a client does, you can get a summary once a day. Now, if you want to make sure you're seeing it when they see it, then do the use prospect schedule, and then you'll get an email whenever they do. Just depends on how you want to do that. Let's see. The cart maintenance. So what that is once a home is in their cart or their portal, this cart maintenance will basically keep it clean for you automatically. So if you, I think by default, a lot of these are checked. If you don't, if you want there to only remain in their cart properties that are active and coming soon, then you need to uncheck all your contingent, closed, everything. If you like them to know price changes, oh no, price changes isn't an option. You can do that for yourself though, right? Up here and right here, you can have set yourself up to get when a property changes price that has been out there. So that's an option, but this cart maintenance will just keep that cleared out for you. Let's see. You then will click save, and that's when it will pop up that I did not set them up. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it must be because I didn't do an automated one. So when you click save, it'll pop up the portal invitation that you can then, create their search name, and then you can add in a little blurb in there about what you, hey, this is your home search portal. Let me know if you have any questions, what have you. You can pop that in there and send that to them, or you can send it to them later. Let's see. I have one other thing. Any questions on that or comments?
Heather, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you need to activate the auto search in order to then have the client portal function, or can you just have the client portal function without auto search?
That's a great question. I am not sure. I always do my auto search in MLS, and then I give people a portal. I honestly don't know. Do you know, Gary?
No.
Okay, I can find that out. I can give it a try. Because it doesn't give me the option until I create a search for them. But it could just be a search being emailed to me. So I would think you could do a portal, but I don't know. Never done it.
It seems redundant to have both features running.
A search and, well, the search, what is in the portal is all the listings that are on that search. So they get emailed when they're there, and then they can go access them and make comments and do, reject them or save them or what have you. So it just gives them one extra step of, being able to manage the listings. So yeah, I'm sure it's redundant for some people, but some people like it, so. And Kendra asked, do you suggest that we have our clients use our website for auto prospecting or the MLS? I personally use the MLS. That's how I was taught, and I've never changed. But how about you guys? Are other people using the website and find it works better, or do you like the MLS?
Are we gonna still have our website once we go to MoxieWorks or after Zap? Because that's how I've been introducing people to my website, is through Zap, and then I can set up a prospecting for them through our website. So that's what I've been doing. Prior to the Zap, I was using the internet, the MLS, and that seemed to work fine. I didn't know if one was better than the other. They just formatted differently. They're both pulling from MLS. Gary, what's your suggestion? Should we be using our website search engine or the MLS search engine?
Well, personally, I like the person going to my website to find their properties. But with this portal thing, I think they're linking directly to you anyway. But are we switched over, Heather, on the websites to Moxie now?
So Moxie's fully functioning if you've set it up.
Yeah.
That will be going away either end of this year or early next year. I haven't heard specifically when. So right now, both are happening.
Right.
Okay, so is there training for MoxieWorks? Because I'm obviously not I stopped using Zap because I thought we were going to MoxieWorks, and then I kind of I guess dropped the ball on training for MoxieWorks. But I'm kind of in limbo now, not knowing which one to use or.
Yeah, I can send you, did I send you the Moxie, the recorded trainings?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably.
Yes,
Like I said,
you
I dropped the
did.
ball on all of it because I just was like, okay, when am I supposed to
Right.
start this? It just seems
Yeah,
like it's
so
dragging.
there is, there's recorded trainings on Moxie on all the 4 parts of that. And one of them is the Moxie website. What I suggest is just you have Moxie up and you play a little bit of the webinar and then you pop over into Moxie and do what it's teaching you how to do. The admin, I believe all of them can help with that as well. And if people need it, I could always do another training. I don't have anything scheduled. We did.
So is
workshop-
our website, our personal website that the company has created for us, is that linked with MoxieWorks?
Yes,
Okay. So it's the same website that we've had before with Zap. It's just now Moxie accesses it as well.
So I believe those websites are going away and you create a new one on Moxie. Is that? That's my understanding.
I created mine on Moxie.
Mhm.
yeah, it's easy to do and very customizable. So there are some steps you need to take to get your website up and working on Moxie. Heather, why
So,
don't you?
Gary, the way that we can go into Zap and we can write a letter
Yeah.
to them and then we can click a button
Yeah.
saying, inviting them to our website.
Right,
Can we do that with Moxie?
yes.
I
More
just have to
efficient.
learn how to do it. Okay.
Yeah, better and more efficiently. Heather, why don't you send me those links? And when I send out this recording, because we've discussed it in the recording, I'll add those links to the recording.
Okay, yep, will do. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah, Sherry. Mhm.
So my understanding is that this method sends emails to clients or potential clients. And then the website, if you create the widget, is something that the clients more go into your website and then create the widget on their own. So wouldn't those both be useful?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can, where they go in and do their own search, you can also set it up so they receive those automated or automatically through
Right.
our website as well. They're similar. It's mostly just a preference of how it looks and the functionality, how you like the functionality. The information on the MLS obviously is there as soon as an agent goes in and submits a listing, but on the Moxie sites, there comes very quickly as well. It's just not absolutely immediate, but yeah, I think they're both really helpful. Just
Yeah,
depends on what you like.
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, one last thing I wanted to remind you guys about, if you aren't using it on Veris, there is this great Market Watch area here. You can change this when you first go in. If you haven't taken a class from Veris or you haven't in a long time and you don't have this functioning right, you can change the area so it defaults to MLS wide, so everything in the MLS. Or you can say, no, I want my Market Watch to be specific areas and districts. You just click on the little pencil and then you can edit what you want. You can see mine pops up here, all the areas that I have included. And then whichever one you have starred, then that is going to be what is going to be highlighted on your Market Watch area. You can also add a saved search. So if you have someone looking for a particular property that's hard to find, you can add a specific search on here, and then it'll show up in your Market Watch area for those properties as well. So that's pretty handy. And this is something that I don't know how I missed this forever. This shows you this Market Watch, how many days back. So right now it's set to only 1 day, which is kind of funny. You can set it to 4 days. You can set it to up to 7 days. So however you want to see everything that's come on the market in the last 7 days, then you can utilize that little days back feature there. Yeah, I think that's everything I was going to cover today. Any other questions?
Okay, Parmita, I see you're on. If you're live and available, do you want to go over what the changes were in the leads? I know you've sent out an email about that, but maybe you could speak to it as well.
Sure, I am alive. I'm right here. So we have, and we've had it for a while. It's the BHG Leads Gen program, which is basically the text writer that Randy mentions in the meetings. He really wants us to start on our listings using that BHG text writer. Now, if it's on your listing and you get a call, of course, it goes to the listing agent, and there's no referral fee because it's the listing agent's lead. However, there are some listing agents who don't want to double end a deal. And there's some listing agents who just don't want to receive the calls. So in that case, it goes round robin, depending on which zip codes you cover, which is why it's important to go into Moxie and just make sure that your profile has the correct zip codes in there, as well as your most current phone number. Because we did notice a couple of agents had the office line as their phone number. So in that case, they wouldn't get the leads. It would have just gone to a landline. As well as the BHG text writers, the marketing team are going to start putting these codes in marketing pieces. So it's going to be, in the Press Democrat, in magazines, anywhere we do marketing, we'll have an option for a buyer or seller to text us, which is actually proving to be a lot more effective. We're getting more leads from this than we are through personal phone calls or emails. So we've had consistent leads pretty much every day since we relaunched it this week.
Great. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Parmita, did you mean go into your Moxie profile and make sure everything is accurate
Yes.
with your phone number? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Everyone's phone number should be current because Haley double checked them for us, but just double check your zip codes because I know a few of our Sonoma County agents were getting Lake County leads, and it's probably the other way around too. And just so everyone knows, you don't need to register. Everyone who is a BHG agent is on the program automatically unless you opt out.
And
Good.
am I correct that if your phone number shows as a landline, that you're not going to be getting texts? So we all need to have our cell phone in there.
Correct. And if for some reason, if there's an agent, I know there's one agent who doesn't have a cell phone. In that case, yeah, in that case, it would go to their emails.
Where do they live?
Yeah, there is an agent. I don't know if she's still with us, but
No. Which agent is that? I need to call them. On their landline.
No, I'm being serious. I don't think she's with us anymore. We sold her house a while ago, so she may have moved.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy. You see Curtis's question in the chat, Heather?
I will look. Let's see. Where'd the chat go? Oh,
Read the question out because I think
can you only change zip codes in Moxie and not Greenhouse, as the email suggests? So I mentioned Greenhouse in the email because I go through Greenhouse to get to Moxie. So I don't know how everyone's using it, whether they're logging into Moxie directly or going via Greenhouse like I do.
so you could go directly to Moxie. Yeah, and select your zip codes. Okay, good deal. Thanks. Any questions? All right, everyone. We've got training on schedule for next week. So I think Heather and I will both be around.
I'm sorry, Parmita, is this the QR code that we're talking about putting on our signs? Is that where this phone call is coming from, or
I believe they are looking into making it easier and adding a QR code, but some of those QR codes may lead to your, like I know with my one personally, the QR code goes to a website. So I'll double check with Haley whether they're going to make that available for the texting option
So
too.
the texting thing is just a name writer that we put on our signs.
Yes, yeah.
And
And it's a code. It usually says
do
something.
we request that when we request the sign?
Yeah, so when you have a listing and you request for North Bay to go out and put your sign up, just remind them, because they haven't been doing it unless an agent requests it. It is going to be automatic soon, but I would just remind them like, hey, we want the.
So on my 3 listings I have now, I should request them to put this,
And they may, depending on when those listings went live, they may have done it for you already, but I would double check.
okay, and I request that they give me an address, an email. What is the thing that I'm requesting?
You don't need an email. You just need to ask them for the sign writer that has the text code.
Sign
Yeah,
writer
well,
with text. code.
all the text codes are the same unless you get a personalized text code. But if you don't, you get the company text code, but it's linked to our system, so the lead goes to you as the listing agent.
So when I call North Bay, I just say, hey, I need 3
Yep.
sign writers with
Yep.
text codes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good deal.
Would you be able to put the North Bay site into the link or the chat so I can use it, please?
The North Bay site.
Well, wherever you order the sign writers.
You can have your office admin order those for you as well. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay,
I normally just have Marissa do it. I know some agents
Okay.
go directly to the sign company, but the admins can do it.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okey doke. Yeah, best to communicate with North Bay through the your admin if you can. Okay. Well, have a great Labor Day weekend. Try to stay cool. And Monday's supposed to be hot, so hydrate. All right. Everybody be well, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.